So the Donald Trump clown show continues, and today's episode, we're playing musical chairs. These are the headlines. Trump says he plans to move his national security advisor, Mike Waltz, to the UN. And we just talked about in the last episode, the sort of rumor mill was saying he's going to get booted out. Turns out, yes, he did booted out from one position, but now he's going over to the UN. So what happens to his position? Well, Rubio is going to step in. Trump replacing Waltz as national security advisor. Rubio takes role for now. Who's going to replace Rubio as Secretary of State? Well, Rubio's going to stay there, I guess. So now he's doing two roles. Headline, Rubio first since Kissinger to be Secretary of State and National Security Advisor. This also comes in the fact that I feel like the press secretary, Karen Levitt, might be changing roles over there. Again, it's musical chairs. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. Take a look at this.
Good morning, everybody. We're capping off the first 100-day week with our morning briefing. How does everybody feel? You like the morning briefings? Okay, we do too. That's why we're doing them. It's good to see all of you. I brought a friend out here today who's happy to take your questions, but first...
So the funniest thing about this is she starts out this morning briefing like, do you like the morning briefings? And I wonder if like that's what she tells herself when she looks in the mirror every day. Do I like this job? Do I want to quit? Because the last couple of days she's been bringing out effectively guests that take her role. And she doesn't do much the last couple of days. So I wonder if she's stressing out or what, or they're unhappy with performance. I don't know. But I'll just say this, her role may or may not be changing. I also want to point this out too. If you're curious who her staff are, would someone replace her? The four women on the left is basically sorority sister kind of culture. You can literally see it. That's sort of their, most intimate stuff. So basically it's this sorority sister kind of culture. She's young. If you don't know, I think the youngest in history, she's 27. Trump calls her smart and tough. There she is there. I'll let you guys decide what you think about that. And she also married someone who's 32 years older than her. I bring all this stuff up because you have to understand who these people are. Now, the Miller guy, who she brought out to effectively replace her for the day, is kind of like a Nazi guy. That's the best way to describe him. If ever you've seen him before, that's how he talks. Let's listen a little bit.
He has reversed those catastrophes and brought America into the new golden age. So I thank you for your time, and I look forward to any questions you have.
He's always angry too. As we go into the new golden age, he's really, really angry. All right. So first thing you have to understand is they have to address what Trump said yesterday. That's a big thing is you go to the presser, yes, you ask him questions like, please do clarify. What did Trump say yesterday? He talked about basically you're going to pay more for your dolls. Have a listen.
Much of it we don't need. Somebody said, oh, the shelves are going to be open. Well, maybe the children will have 2 dolls instead of 30 dolls, And maybe the 2 dolls will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. But we're not talking about something that we have to go out of our way. They have ships that are loaded up with stuff.
All right, so he's saying maybe this Christmas, kids, you only got $2 instead of 30, and maybe the $2 are going to cost you a little bit more. And they keep going with this line that we don't need stuff from China. I'm going to push back and just show you a chart of stuff that the USA gets from China. It's all kinds of stuff, guys. And if you know anything about the world, a lot of things are made in China. So let me read through the list. This is in 2024, from the biggest to the smallest. What USA buys and sells with China. So this is importing coming in from China. Wireless and broadcast stuff. That'd be like your phones, these kind of things. Computer equipment, machinery, electrical equipment, fabricated metal parts, chemicals, that's important. Dolls, toys, and games. So I don't want to downplay the toys. It does matter, especially for Christmas, but a lot of other goods. Plastic and rubber appliances, batteries, plastic products, clothing, furniture, auto parts, leather and related, computer chips, textiles, TVs, stereos, and cameras, pharmaceuticals, and footwear. That's the stuff that comes in from China. So it's actually quite a bit of stuff, the stuff we send to China. Just to finish up the list, the USA sends chemicals, soybeans, oil and gas, planes, that'd be the Boeing stuff, machinery, computer chips, scientific measuring devices, food products, autos, and medical equipment. So this is trade, and the idea that it's only dolls, that's how they're trying to portray it, because they try to act like it doesn't matter that if we don't get goods from China. But I tell you guys, it does matter. And let's listen to more of the questions regarding this.
To be clear, you said that prices have gone down across the board. The president himself acknowledged that on toys you may end up paying, on dolls he was referring to, you may end up paying a little bit more right now. So in terms of
he was making the point that I think almost every American consumer agrees with. If they had a choice between and I'm a parent of young children, you had a choice between a doll from China that might have, say, lead paint in it, that is not as well constructed as a doll made in America that has a higher environmental and regulatory standard and that is made to a higher degree of quality.
So this is gaslighting 101. I'm just being frank. This is gaslighting 101. So they're changing the discussion to dolls. Would you rather have a made in America doll or made in China doll? Maybe the made in America one's going to cost more, but it's going to be, better, etc. The one from China is going to be lead. But I just read through all of the categories of stuff we get from China. It's way more than just dolls, right? And also, to be fair, I just want to have a conversation with you guys. Americans make this decision every day. And a lot of Americans shop at Walmart. And a lot of goods at Walmart come from China. So we actually already know the answer. People don't necessarily buy things made in America if it costs a lot more. And then that's also the question as well is every good from China, inferior in every way? Not necessarily, right? That's why I brought up, say, we get iPhones that are made from China. Honestly, I just, got a MacBook. It's also made in China. A lot of Apple products are. Teslas are made in China. Now, those Teslas, though, in USA are made in USA, and because he makes them in different places around the world. Just want to be fair on that. But just don't think necessarily that everything's inferior that comes from China. Not necessarily. There's a lot of stuff that you probably have in your house that comes from China that works perfectly fine. And then the other issue as well is if you try to make some stuff in America, I'll give you an example. There was a clothing company I remember when I was in college. I believe it was called American Made, if I remember correctly. It was something like that, but it was kind of like kind of plain, simple clothes, kind of like the Gap in that way. And the prices just came in way too high, and ultimately the company failed. And there's some things that's just really tough to make in the USA for a reasonable price to where consumers will want to buy it. And this is just part of our business model. Now, they're going to make the case that Americans will choose, American products, made products, maybe sometimes in some cases, but every day people make that choice and they go to Walmart and they choose the Chinese goods. I'm just telling you the reality of it. Let's watch some more, though.
And those two products are both on Amazon. That yes, you probably would be willing to pay more for a better made American product. But here's the key point. With the tax cuts, the regulation cuts, the energy price decrease, and everything else that President Trump is doing.
So here's the thing that's also kind of funny, because first he tries to make the case that things from China are dangerous or poisonous, said lead dolls, right? And then he's saying, hey guys, we're going to cut regulations in USA and we're all going to be awesome. But the regulations in the USA is what keeps our products safe. So they don't actually listen to themselves speak when they talk about this stuff. But I understand that that's sort of what they do to gaslight you. And, let's watch some more. You'll see.
To unleash this era of American prosperity and prevent the road we were on to get off that road of financial ruin and doom means that it will be cheaper than ever to make and manufacture in America. I think that answers your question.
So I'm going to do one more. Stephen, can I just... Can I ask about those?
So that clearly didn't answer the question. They're like, no, wait, I got a question. And everyone's in the rooms like smiling, wait, no, So I had to point that stuff out there because, this is the reality, guys. Very few people will tell you the truth in this stuff. And earnings reports that just came out from Apple, they're saying, you know what? Apple China sales miss estimates, marring latest earnings report. I want to make sure we understand this, completely, that yes, USA takes goods from China, but yes, also China buys USA goods. Like it's trade. It goes back and forth. So the way the Trump people try to portray things out is that we have to, make all of these deals in favor of USA. We're going to win and beat everyone, and all the other countries are cheaters. They use that language in this presser, and it's kind of irritating. And we're all connected, and so this Trump thing is going to hurt everyone. Already, too, you have an economic slowdown in China, and the Trump tariffs is going to make things even worse. So let me read what Apple had to say about the economy lately. It says Apple's Inc. sales from China declined more than anticipated in latest quarter, overshadowing otherwise solid results for the iPhone maker. China revenue fell 2.3% to $16 billion. So that is an issue that we have to face. So it did say Apple overall sales gained 5%, but they're projecting percentage growth in the low to mid single digits. So not that much growth. And this is sales, not necessarily profits. And those revenues will definitely hurt. So that's what's going on with the markets today. And then you have to deal with Apple may or may not have lied and purged themselves in court. That just came out a couple days ago. Apple says it will appeal after court finds company executive lied under oath in the Epic Games trial. Basically, what it was, Epic Games, they make games, and if you want to buy, their games through their app, the way they had it before is that Apple would want basically a cut from that. It was like 30%. It's like really high. And so then Epic and other sort of apps would want you to sort of buy credits or be able to buy games outside the Apple app and get around those fees. And that's sort of the question, is that monopoly or not? And this will still be, being litigated when not Apple has, how can I say, has lied under oath under this stuff, because they're talking about that there's so much evidence involved with these things, and we have a chain of emails and all sorts of stuff. But I'm bringing up that part of it is because regulations are important to keep companies in check from having monopolies and giving the little companies a chance. Also, you have this today, and this reflects what's going on in the economy. Amazon projects profit that disappoints on trade concerns. So Amazon is slowing down as well. So again, Apple's saying slow down in China. Amazon's saying slow down also this coming year. This would be overall. Amazon Inc. gave a weaker than expected forecast for operating profit in the current quarter, pointing towards a long list of factors, including tariffs and trade, that may cause consumers to pull back on spending. So that's coming from Amazon. And I try to throw it all together for you guys, because you have to understand the politics do matter, the markets do matter, and the consumers do matter. Like there's multiple things that are saying, and then each individual company will have a different experience depending on if your good is something that like people need and they have to buy it every single day, or is it a discretionary thing where they don't necessarily need to buy it every single day. Because some things, like for example, I don't have to buy a new iPhone every year. And I always bring up the iPhone one because those things are expensive. I mean, there's like over $1,000 these days. And so we basically try to wait as long as we can. And we're not alone. I think many consumers are thinking the same thing. Let's see what Stephen Miller has to say about what's going on.
Them emotionally. The only thing that gets them exercised is, do we need to have more trials for terrorist supporters? We need to have more trials for gangbangers. We need to have more trials for illegal alien invaders, even though Congress and the Constitution clearly say that you can expel invaders and illegal aliens quickly, efficiently, and properly.
That's what he's talking about. and you wonder why they call him like the Nazi kind of dude. Like he's like, and he goes off about all kinds of stuff. It's kind of scary, to be perfectly frank. And then again, this whole particular presser, she was not involved at all. She just gave a few words.
At 11 o'clock, President Trump will participate in a National Day of Prayer event where he will invite...
I guess we're praying today. I tuned in for a little bit of that. Basically, we're at a prayer event. It was for a couple hours, and Trump's talking about making money and getting rich at a supposed Christian prayer event. Watch this.
But he said, they don't really understand the real Trump. I want to do it. And he did the nicest interview, talked about things that nobody ever asked me. And a lot of people watched it. I was a little surprised. He's got his own network, and he's become seriously rich. He said, I'll put it on Merit. I said, what the hell is Merit? He said, that's my network.
See, we're talking about ratings, networks, and getting rich. That's who these people are. They're all reality TV show stars. And I know the MAGA people don't watch my channel, but I just still want to put the stuff out there in case that they do, just so you can see who the Trump people are. And if you're curious what they're up to, this is back in February. They established the White House Faith Office. Today, they're establishing the Religious Liberty Commission. Yes, that's what they're doing. And they had a singing. They were singing Amazing Grace in this particular episode. And people started sort of crying and wiping their eyes of their tears at the same time. Whether or not that's orchestrated, I don't know. You can ask them. But yes, they were singing at the White House, and whether or not Trump really believes in this stuff, I think it's all for show, to be perfectly frank. Yep, there they go. They're wiping their eyes. They're crying so much because this is the people who Trump has appointed to be in charge of the Faith Commission. They're actually selling angels and blessings for $1,000 for real. This is one of Trump's people. Watch this.
House. According to Exodus 23, God will assign an angel to you. He'll be an enemy to your enemies. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take sickness away from you. He will give you long life. He'll bring increase in inheritance, and he'll give a special year of blessing. You're not doing this to get something, but you're doing it in honor to God, realizing what you can receive.
For your special Passover offering of $1,000 or more, as the Holy Spirit leads, you will also receive the beautiful 10-inch Waterford crystal.
That is Paula White. That is the head of the White House Faith Office, and now they're establishing the was that the religious liberty thing. And if you don't see it clearly that these people are a bunch of grifters, liars, scammers, and they basically are scamming people who are easily duped, unfortunately, I guess we have to go buy our crystal cross from Trump and Paula. Remember, Trump does sell his Bibles, his gold shoes, his NFTs, and whatever. And if you're watching this, you're like, yeah, you know this stuff already. But like some people don't. They don't call it out. But, you know, I try to, because it just, all I have to do is just show you who they are. Watch a little bit more.
Last administration cruelly and shamefully used the power of the Justice Department to go after law-abiding Americans, in particular Trump supporters, conservatives, and Christians. That persecution has ended.
Yeah, see, so they try to like play this narrative, and what the narrative is for the Trump people is like, oh, you know, all of you white people are persecuted all the time, and all you white Christian people are persecuted even more. No, seriously, that I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's what they go with. And then they watch Fox News, who basically does kind of, frankly, racist kind of stuff, and you know, they'll make fun of. I'll show you. They're making fun of Democrats, and they use racist language. You'll see.
They're not happy. So obviously,
I want more sing-alongs. Right. The sing-along's more interesting than that.
Steve.
Hiya, 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 hiya.
Absolutely. Right there. Right. But the thing that.
So that's who they are. That's who these people believe, and that's what they say. I appreciate your time, everyone, and I'll catch you all in the next video.